What would you, yes, you, give for greatness? Your time? Your sanity? Your relationships? Would you bleed for it? Whiplash is a film that doesn't just ask that question. It throws a chair at your face and shakes you to your core.
Why do you suppose I just hurled a chair at your head, Neiman?
This isn't just a story about drumming. It's about obsession, sacrifice, and the brutal path of ambition. And whether you've sat behind a drum kit or not, the truth is this. We all, in one way or another, are Andrew Neiman. And we all, in some corner of our lives, face a Fletcher. Andrew Neiman is not chasing mediocrity. He doesn't want to be good. He wants to be one of the greats. Not liked, not comfortable, but remembered. I remember when I was growing up, we were probably in 5th grade, we were asked the question, what kind of education level would you like to reach? High school, bachelor's degree, master's degree, or go all the way into a PhD? Obviously, I had no real notion of what any of this entailed, but ever since I was little, I had this natural ambition to me of being exceptional. So as the choices were called out in order, I waited until the end to raise my hand at the prospect of a PhD. I don't know exactly why this was the case, but I think it had something to do with high expectations from my family when I was little. We're not sure why Andrew is like this either, but he idolizes Buddy Rich. He spends hours alone practicing until his hands bleed. And in a way that resonates with us, because who hasn't looked up to someone and dreamt of being exceptional? Not just surviving, not just blending in, but transcending. But here's the rub. What this movie teaches us is that the pursuit of greatness is never kind. It comes at a cost. And Whiplash is brutally honest about what that cost is. Throughout this video, I'm also going to go over my own experiences with my own obsessions and where I stand now. The way I see it, ambition feels like swimming upstream. You're pulled one way by this fierce desire to be great, to sacrifice, to push beyond what's comfortable. But on the other side, there's a current pulling you back. The current of conformity. Comfort. The easy road. It's so tempting to just let yourself drift, to numb yourself, to sit on the couch and binge whatever's on or scroll endlessly on your phone. The real fight isn't always against the outside world, it's against that pull inside of us, those whispers. Just take it easy. This tension is perfectly embodied in Andrew's relationship with his father. His dad is kind, supportive, but to Andrew, he represents the safety net of mediocrity. A life without risk, without ambition, and therefore without greatness. That's why the dinner table scene hits so hard. Andrew pouring his soul into becoming one of the greats is completely dismissed.
I'm part of Schaefer's top jazz orchestra, which means it's the best in the country, and I'm a core member. So I'll start playing in competitions, and actually I found out I'm the youngest person in the entire band.
Well, how do you know when's in a music competition? Isn't it subjective?
No.
Does the studio get you a job?
No, it's not an actual studio. It's just the name of the ensemble. But yeah, it's a big step forward in my career.
Well, I'm so glad you figured it out. It's a nasty business, I am sure. Oh, hey, are you going to tell them about your game this week, huh?
His family doesn't understand him. They praise safe, respectable paths. College football, steady jobs, things you can put on a resume. But the idea of sacrificing everything for art? For greatness? They brush it aside as childish. And you can feel Andrew's rage boiling over because to him, it's not just ignorance. It's an insult to everything he's bleeding for. And honestly, I get it. I've been in that exact spot. I've looked at people who were satisfied with balance, with good enough, and I resented them. I thought they were wasting their lives, choosing comfort over glory, and for a long time that mindset ate at me. But here's the thing, that resentment is a trap. Because what Whiplash forces us to wrestle with, and what I've slowly realized myself, is that greatness isn't the only measure of a well-lived life. A balanced life, one filled with love, stability, and fulfillment, that has its own kind of greatness, too. For all of Andrew's drive, there's one thing he can't outrun: the cost. Every hour he spends bleeding on the drums is an hour not spent living a life outside of them, and nowhere is that clearer than in his relationship with Nicole. At first, she represents something simple, human, grounding. She's not just chasing fame or greatness, she wants connection. For Andrew, dating Nicole could have been a chance to step outside the pressure cooker, to remember that life isn't only about achievement, that sometimes happiness is found in the quiet moments we share with other people. But Andrew can't see it. His obsession blinds him. He breaks up with her not because he doesn't care, but because he's convinced she'll only hold him back. He reduces love to a liability, and in that moment, you see just how ruthless ambition can be. It devours not just your time and energy, but the people closest to you. And truth be told, that's a tragedy, because it's only when those things are gone that we realize their worth. Watching Andrew cut Nicole out of his life was definitely hard to watch. I started thinking to myself, if I've ever done something like this myself. And the truth is that, yes, I've cut friends out of my life because they didn't share my own ambition. They talked about things that to me just weren't important, that I felt were absolutely a waste of time. How dare they talk about football, video games, and so on, when we could be talking about starting our own business, we could be talking about finances and how to get a jump start on life. I've dismissed things that brought me balance because they didn't align with my obsession at the time. I undervalued what I had in front of me because I was too focused on chasing what I thought I needed. But here's the painful fact, okay? The people who love us are often the ones who remind us who we are when we forget. Greatness without love, without connection, without meaning is just empty. And Whiplash forces us to look that in the eye, even if Andrew refuses to. When Andrew cuts Nicole out of his life, it isn't just a breakup. It's the start of a freefall. From that moment on, nothing exists outside of the drums. He practices until his hands split open, he isolates himself, he alienates the people around him. All that's left is obsession. But the film doesn't let us place the blame entirely on Fletcher. Fletcher is cruel, manipulative, abusive, no doubt about it. Yet what makes him such a terrifying character is that he's also the voice Andrew has already internalized. Fletcher doesn't just demand perfection from him, Andrew demands it from himself. And that's where Whiplash really gets under your skin, because who hasn't had that voice in their head? That voice that says, not enough, not yet, you're still not there. Fletcher is more than a teacher, he's an embodiment of that relentless inner critic, the part of us that believes the only way to grow is through pain, through punishment, through breaking ourselves down again and again until nothing but greatness remains. And it's intoxicating, you know, in a way. Andrew buys into it. He believes that if he could just endure more pain, take more punishment, give up more of his life than anyone else, he'll be remembered. That's the tragedy of obsession. It's not that it doesn't make you better, it does, but it does so by consuming everything else along the way. Watching Andrew push himself past a breaking point hit uncomfortably close to home. Because while I've never had a Fletcher screaming in my face, I've had my own version of him living rent-free in my head. The voice that tells me I need to be perfect, that I need to work out every day, sleep perfectly, eat clean, balance a job, grow on YouTube, and somehow still stay ahead of everyone else. And the thing is, sometimes that voice drives me forward, sure. It makes me sharper, yeah. More disciplined, more ambitious. But other times, it crushes me. I feel like I'm juggling 1,000 spinning plates, and the moment one falls, I spiral into thinking I failed at all of them. It's a double-edged sword. It can carve out greatness, but if you're not careful, it'll cut you down in the process. And unlike Andrew, most of us don't have the luxury of burning every bridge for one dream. We need balance. We need people. We need moments of rest. I think so many of us, especially younger people, are constantly crushed by the pressure to stand out. We measure ourselves against people we think are better, forgetting that what we're really comparing ourselves to is an illusion. Social media makes it worse. Every scroll is a highlight reel, a carefully polished version of someone else's life. We see the wins, the money, the relationships, but we never see the demons they're fighting behind the curtain. And the danger is, when we forget that, we stop valuing what's right in front of us. We get stuck in our own heads, chasing someone else's version of success, while the things that actually make life meaningful slips by unnoticed. Sometimes, the bravest thing we can do isn't to push harder, it's to pause, take a breath, and remember what's already ours. Whiplash doesn't tell us to give up on ambition. It doesn't say that chasing greatness is meaningless, and I'm not saying that either. Ambition can sharpen us, it can give us purpose, it can push us to do things we didn't think possible. But here's the truth. Life moves fast. And if all we ever do is chase, we'll miss the very moments that make the chase worth it. As cliche as it sounds, we need to stop and smell the flowers once in a while. Because if we don't, our obsession stops being a tool and starts being a prison. That inner Fletcher, the voice that tells us we're never enough, never working hard enough, never doing enough, will always be there. If we let it rule, we'll end up exhausted, depressed, and alone. The real challenge, then, isn't just about pushing ourselves to the edge. It's about knowing when to pull back, when to breathe, when to be present. To not let ambition rob us of connection, of joy, of life itself. Because in the end, greatness isn't just about how hard you play the drums. It's about how fully you live the song. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'd like to give a big shout out to my supporters on Ko-Fi, Jonas, Charles, and Matt. Massive thank you for the support on this journey of mine. If you guys like my content and would like to support me, consider subscribing or checking out my Ko-Fi. Link will be in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.